Let's look at Canadians over in Europe, guys. And Jonathan David sets a new career high with his 16th goal of the season in his 100th Ligue appearance. Ollie, like, at what point are we done talking about where he could possibly go? He's got to go, right? Like, he's got to go. Has he outgrown Ligue 1?
Yeah, I think it will happen in the summer. I don't think there's much question about it now. When you're up near Kylian Mbappe in the goal scoring race, I think that will be more than enough. 16 goals in 25 games, as you see there, is a great ratio. And I think his move will come. And I think probably to the Premier League you would expect, but we'll see on that one. The thing that struck me this weekend was like David's 100 Ligue 1 appearances, Davies 100 Bundesliga appearances. And I was like, hang on a minute, David got there like 2 years later than Davies did he not? And I know Davies in his first season was still, a teenager and still adapting to obviously moving to Germany and didn't play a lot, but it says something about like how often Jonathan David plays, that in 3 seasons now, not even 3 seasons, he's played 100 league matches as well as, Champions League, cup competitions. He's only ever missed 2 league games for Lille. That to me is a massive asset. It's one that people maybe don't really, talk about or focus on much, but just his ability to be on the pitch like every single week, the amount of minutes he plays is crazy. So to have 100 appearances in that league under his belt already is some accomplishment. And yeah, he continues to hit the back of the net on a regular basis as well.
And I think for me, in my notes, Ollie, Wheels, and Trails, it's just about longevity. And I think being a striker, sometimes you have it where you have these moments where you're up for it. But what I like about Jonathan David is that he's a poacher. He's a finisher, but he's a poacher. Like, he's ready. He's an opportunist. He's a guy that's like, hey, it might fall to him. If you look at some of his goals outside of like pens or even shots where he's coming into the box, it's just about having that sense. And a lot of defenders have it like, hey, the ball's going to land here. But if you look at him, like, he has that. He's like, yeah, I'm just going to stay on this guy's shoulder and I'm popping at this time. So him being ready and available and also being just a poacher is a beautiful combination. Now, his next step, I don't know where he's thinking. I do agree with Ollie that it kind of looks like the Premier League, but just going to a club where he could be a big dog and play week in and week out. I think that's imperative for his next steps. Instead of, I'm not going to get into dollar amounts, because I think any deal is really good, obviously with the type of player that he is in quality. But going somewhere where he can be like a number 9 and be the big dog and be playing week in and week out.
Where is that, Jordan?
$1 million question, Wheels. $1 million question.
It's going to be a lot more than $1 million. Like, it's an incredible goal scoring return. League 1 isn't a farmer's league. Like, it's still a good league. There's still good players that come out of there's this perception because of what PSG is that the rest of the league are a bunch of nobodies. It's simply not the case. He's scoring against good players. He's scoring his penalties, which kind of creates some sort of traumatic experience for me thinking back to Canada and their penalty at the World Cup, doesn't it? Like, if you could do that again, wouldn't you want Jonathan David taking that penalty? And he probably should be the number 1, the preferred penalty taker for Canada going forward, even though maybe a Steven Vittoria, if he's still playing, might have a little bit of a say in that as well. But I mean, what he's done, this should be widely celebrated in Canadian soccer. So many goals, so many games played at the highest level, including Champions League football for a young player out of Ottawa, Ontario. Let that sink in. The future's bright, but the present, it's pretty good watching week in, week out on OneSoccer as well.
Isn't it special, and you had already alluded to it, Ollie, that as well, Alphonso Davies becomes the youngest non-German player to reach 100 Bundesliga appearances. I mean, has his value ever been higher, in your opinion, Ollie?
No, I don't think so. Like, I think that stat is amazing. Like, a club like Bayern Munich, the history they have for, to be the first or the fastest non-German player to get to that milestone is incredible, I think. And I also just look at like over the weekend, I was looking at, the top left backs in the world. Real Madrid started Camavinga, a midfielder at left back. Man City started Nathan Ake, who I think is very good, but probably better as a centre back. Like, the value of Alphonso Davies I think is just sky high right now. So to be, for me, the best left back in the world at this moment in time, the way he plays as well, how dynamic he is. Like, you see a lot of more kind of like possession oriented fullbacks now who tuck in a little bit and a bit more cautious in their play. He's just like the classic Dani Alves, bombs up and down that wing. He can come inside and be really effective. And, you know, Bayern's kind of added that side to his game as well. But just an absolute force when he's at his best. He's playing brilliantly right now. And yeah, I think with the amount of top clubs that don't really have that kind of natural left back who's truly world class, I don't know what price tag Bayern Munich would put on this guy's head right now. It would be extortionate, I think.
Are we taking in how crazy that stat is?
Yeah.
Like, this is not like a miniature club. Like,
Yeah.
how crazy that is for a Canadian player to reach that. Like, Bayern Munich is a club. I keep bringing up my time in Denmark. Everyone was like a Bayern fan. Like, that was like the club, just like dating back like in the 80s. They're just like Bayern Munich. If you think about a kid coming from here, from North Edmonton, and reach 100 appearances that quickly, it's phenomenal. And people look at it like, oh, that is phenomenal.
And beyond the accomplishment, you know, of Alphonso Davies, I think you both bring up good points. I want to touch on Ollie's point. Left back in world football today is probably the weakest position at large. Like, in terms of like the high depth of talent, like look across the best teams in the world. Left back is oftentimes a problematic position and players are playing out of position. Alphonso Davies is a top 3 left back in the world today. There's simply no doubt about that. Potentially even the best in the world today. Thinking that a Canadian could actually be the best player at their respective position right now is just wild to think about. But guess what? He could do a job elsewhere because he doesn't even play for the national team at that position as well. So what he's accomplished at such a young age, I know that people that were part of the Whitecaps club when he was there was kind of a mandate or mantra at that time: do not screw this up. Like that was it. Good news for them. They did not screw this up. They provided a platform for him to then go on, land in the right spot, land in a place where he can grow in a very good team. And just watching him not only play, but dominate at times and win on a regular basis, it's been pretty special. They are in his role is even more important this season, Andy, because they're in a fight right now with Borussia Dortmund atop the table. The fact that they can sell on Lewandowski and maybe have some holes in their team, and they haven't skipped a beat because players like Davies have stepped up. I think it looks good on him. He's keeping Cancelo out of the team as well. Like, that's, it was kind of an eye-catching move when Cancelo made the move for Man City, but Davies is just so good right now. So, again, it's pretty awesome watching this right now, but you get the sense that the best is still yet to come for Alphonso Davies, as crazy as that sounds.